We just had our last trio finals of the year, and it was a big one. Peterbot winning yet again, but only just, it coming down to the very last game. We also had a bit of drama between Clix and Bucke in the final game. You probably saw it. I want to talk about what happened and what I think it means for both the teams going forward. EU, we had Mongrel and Savage uncontested, but unfortunately not putting up the performance a lot of people were expecting. There's a lot to talk about. Let's jump into it. Let's kick off talking about NA, and you already know who I'm going to say won it. You've probably seen the thumbnail. You've seen the title. Peterbot cannot be stopped. This team is looking too good, but it did come right down to the wire, to be fair. Ritual Cold and Peterbot winning it on 422 points, another $15,000 secured. These prize pools are amazing. It makes it super exciting, but again, it came down to the difference of 3 eliminations, less than 3 eliminations. Rapid, Poyo, and Bolt have been a little bit quiet so far this season. A lot of people asking more of them. It came down to them getting 414 points to Peterbot's 422. And in the last game, Poyo's team got an 8 elim 5th, whereas Peterbot's team got a 9 elim 3rd. Pete actually went into the last game 1 elim behind Bolt. They managed to handle the pressure. They caught up. They overtook them, but it was such an exciting finish. We also had Aegis, Acorn, and Kanata, who were also in that game in 3rd place, get a 9 elim 2nd. All the big teams popping off, bringing it right down to the very end. They finished on 399 points. I want to shout out specifically Kanata in this trio. If you watched his stream, you know Kanata was not feeling well. He was feeling extremely ill. After I watched them get their 14 elim win and Kanata stayed dead silent, I knew something was wrong. He had to tell Acorn and Aegis, look guys, I'm not feeling well. I feel really ill. He literally said, I don't even know where I am right now. He sucked it up, he put in the hours, and then for the last couple of games, they absolutely dominated. So huge respect to Kanata popping off. And then we do have a bit of a drop down the leaderboard. We had Muzz, Clix, and Virgo come in 4th place. Yes, Clix came 4th in a tournament. It was a bit of a jump down though, like 120 points, the difference between 3rd and 4th. We really had a 3-horse race in this one. Clix played phenomenally well. This was Clix and Muzz kind of IGLing and co-IGLing. Rise is currently on a holiday right now. Virgo is not their new trio mate. Virgo stepped up and played with them, and a 4th place with Virgo I think is super solid. Not a lot of people know Virgo. Virgo was a little bit nervous. He said that a few times on stream. He's never played with someone that big, never had that much attention, but they did extremely well. And it was cool to see Clix step into the IGLing role like he used to do. I think a lot of people forgot that Clix spent more of the last few years IGLing than playing as a fragger. Muzz also stepping up. They kind of, like I said, co-IGL'd. It was really fun to watch. There was a bit of drama in the last game. If you guys watched the streams, if you've watched social media, you probably saw it. Basically, what happened was Muzz, Clix, and Virgo rotating out of their drop at Warriors were pushing towards Bucke over at the Dam. A lot of the games, they were getting a lot of surge tags, and they were being a bit annoying. Bucke's team got over it. They wanted to make a statement going for the season forward. Bucke's team aggressively pushed Clix, took him down, carried his body all the way back to their POI, put him in the sewers, and then camped the card. It's upset a lot of people. A lot of people freaked out. Bucke saying, look, he's sick of Clix's team rotating over and trying to fight them. This is his drop spot going forward for the whole season. He wants to lock it down. He wanted to make a statement, and that's what he did. So we'll see what this means going forward. I don't know whether Clix's team is now going to play more aggressive on them. A lot of teams will get fed up and upset by this. Clix on stream did say he was going to start pushing them. We'll see how the next tournament goes. We'll see how the season goes. It got a bit heated. There was a lot of beef, but at the end of the day, when everything settles down, I don't think it's going to change too many things going forward. We'll see. I know Bucke and Clix both consider each other friends, so it got heated, but we'll see what it means going forward. This could change the entire dynamic of how both of them play their spawn fights. Like I said, Muzz and Clix weren't even playing with their real trio, and they still came 4th overall. A phenomenal performance, but Bucke did just get his drop spot uncontested. Bucke's had to deal with Visual's team this whole season, playing with Minish and Victor V. They've been having a pretty heated spawn fight that Victor V finally decided to leave. He's now going power plant, but I don't know whether he's going to be going there all season. There was no real good team that was going there, so they took it uncontested. I'm not sure whether if, there's a good team there or there's good teams around the rest of the map, Victor V's team doesn't come back to the Dam, and then Bucke has to deal with that anyway. So we'll see what this means going forward. It has put a bit of a target on Bucke's team from Clix, but we'll see what that means. In 5th place, we have, again, not another actual trio. This is a bit of an awkward one. We had Noxy, Cooper, and Sphinx come in 5th place overall on 231 points, and if you watched my video yesterday, you know that Cooper and Sphinx just dropped Noxy for the deal. Pretty awkward. A lot of people said that Noxy shouldn't even queue up for the tournament. Don't play with them. They just dropped you, man. Have some respect for yourself. But they kicked off the tournament with a bang. They got a 6 elim win in the first game, 4 elim 3rd, and a 6 elim 5th. After the first 3 games, they were in the top 2, playing phenomenally well. I don't know if Vidil started to feel a little bit nervous there. I don't know if he's already booked his plane ticket, but after that, in game number 4, Noxie went down on spawn. They took an aggressive fight right off their drop spot. Noxie ended up breaking his mouse, which I'm guessing had an effect on the rest of the tournament because their next game was a 12th and their last game was a 22nd. Noxie is now taking to social media and said that he's not too happy with Cooper and Sphinx. So I think it's fair to say, even with a 5th place, this trio is done and dusted. Vidil doesn't have anything to worry about. I don't think Noxie will ever be playing with Cooper and Sphinx again. As for some other placements I wanted to talk about, we had Reed, Bucke, and Threads placing in 8th place, which doesn't seem that notable for such a big trio, but Reed is actually on holidays right now. He's taking an early Christmas vacation. He said he was playing on his little brother's PC that was locked at 60 FPS, so doing pretty well, all things considered there. We had Yapko, Quanti, and Edgy in their first set lobby finals of the season. They didn't make it to Div 1 out of the trials. They've now made it to Div 1, and Quanti has changed his mind. He is not contesting Clix at Warriors, so it looks like Clix hopefully at this point has his drop spot secured right now against any other team in finals. We then had Batman, Booga, Mason, Yomzo, a trio that has been absolutely dominating this season in most people's top 5 or even top 3 performances so far. They got an 11th, honestly not a terrible placement, but compared to how consistent they have been, it's been a little bit of a rough day for them. Bucky's team, again with that last game where they, played a little bit aggressive on the Clix's team, they got a 1 Elim 24th in that game. But outside of that, they would have actually probably gotten a top 10 comfortably if they didn't make that play on Clix. So they were happy to go for that to try to, make that mark on their drop spot in the area around it rather than securing the top 10 in the tournament. Again, Bucke, though, also having traveled back home to Michigan, he was playing on his PC with way more ping. His PC was dropping down to about 60 FPS as well. There's a lot of people right now struggling with their home setup. So it's interesting to see how they compete at this high level on, worst setups. I know a lot of you guys would kill for that setups. I'm gonna have South African kids playing on a toaster right now telling me that they're lucky, but it makes a difference to their performance. It is worth mentioning. We also had some other big names. We had Death's team coming 19th overall with Byler. C-Stay and Jack are getting stuck in a bit of a fight off spawn again with Bucke in that whole area. Bucky's team has just taken swings at anyone who rotates near them, and Visuals, Victor V, and Mini Shed, the team that was dropping on Bucke since going another drop spot, came 26th overall. You really want to see them have a better performance if you want Bucke to stay unconned. There's no reason leaving the drop spot well to drop somewhere else if you're then going to come 26th. So I won't be surprised if we see Bucke back contested in the next finals. We'll have to wait and see. Moving on over to EU, and it wasn't without its excitement either. We had a very new team on top of the leaderboard, Pix, Dam, and Demus. And I hope I'm pronouncing that last one properly. I'm going to have to learn how to pronounce it because apparently I'm going to have to get used to seeing this team on the leaderboards. I've seen them popping up, I've noticed them, and I was sitting here thinking, like, how come I'm seeing them all of a sudden and I never heard of them before? I must have just forgotten some crazy placements. I went back through their Fortnite trackers, and unless I'm mistaken, they have never, ever made an FNCS Grand Finals. Not one of them. So this performance is insane. It's not just a once-off. They have been placing very, very well, very, very consistently. So I'm not highlighting that to flame them. I'm showing it to say how much of a pop-off performance they're having. Maybe they're just trio players. Maybe they just weren't good in duos. Maybe they started locking in. I don't know. But whatever they're doing is working. And I don't think they're cheating. I know as soon as we say that someone's, kind of started performing really well out of nowhere, they're a cheater. I can't see anything to make me suspicious of their gameplay. I think they're just really locked in and doing really, really well. Now, I know a lot of fans of Vico, Veno, Flixie are going to say, but Aussie, they should have won. Yes, Vico, Veno, Flixie came second on 306 points. They can lose. We don't have a Peterbot run away with every tournament storyline. That's because Veno missed the start of the tournament. Veno's team unfortunately only played 5 games of the 6. No, Veno didn't sleep in, but apparently, according to him, he was just chilling in his bed and he didn't realize the tournament started earlier. This season, Epic has now made the finals tournaments, which are on weekends, start 2 hours earlier than the weekday tournaments. I'm not really a huge fan of that. I know Fortnite's just trying to make the schedule better, but honestly, I feel like it just makes it more confusing. I think there's as many people who can't play tournaments on weekends when they're earlier because of commitments that can't play them because they're later. I don't think it's actually really helping more people. It just makes things more confusing. Obviously, a professional player should know that. It's unfortunate for Veno's team, but with their average points being 61.2 a game, it's safe to assume that if they played the 6th game, they would have won the tournament. We don't know. It's a Fortnite Battle Royale. After all, they did have a couple of 14th places, so they could have gone down with not enough points. I don't want to take this away from Pix, but It's worth mentioning they came second with only 5 events played. So we'll see, 5 matches. Then we had another Polish trio you're probably much more familiar with seeing. Seti, Hari, and Cami place in 3rd. I'm absolutely loving seeing Seti and Cami back up on the leaderboards again. I said this last week, I'll say it again. They obviously picked up some much needed firepower with Hari, and it's working really well. They are still what you would consider placement warriors. It's still the Cami playstyle we know. 2 Elim 7th, 3 Elim 8th, 4 Elim 3rd, 6 Elim 3rd, 2 Elim 13th, and a 4 Elim 7th. They are the placement warriors. They had almost the highest average placement of all 3 teams. They're doing really, really well in their placements. Not the most Elims, but we know that playstyle works really well when you get to those grand final lobbies where it's a lot harder to frag out. Now, a team that does frag out when they get rolling, Tripper and Thomas and Frodoxy in 4th place. They're dropping brutal box cards. You give that mythic AR to Thomas HD, he's going to put up some big numbers. And in game number 3, they got a 16 Elim win, a phenomenal place for the Danish team. Again, I'm scared for them, just like I am Peterbot, where if they ever get contested, I think brutal box cards is a nightmare. But as I say with Peterbot, uncontested, it's a beautiful drop, and they're doing really, really well. 5th place, we had Ping, Wox, and Malabuka. Our solo champion Malabuka still doing really well in trios now with a team that, again, kind of formed last minute. Malabuka, you know, got dropped out of the mustache teammates, kind of figured out what was going on there, picked up Ping and Wox, doing really well. 6th place, Shark, Zhu, and Ziandi. If you guys remember, I was hyping this team up during the opens. They were absolutely dominating. Shark and X-Console Pro, they did really well in the finals. They had either pop-off games or dud games, unfortunately. It's either like, you know, a 9 Elim 4th or a 0 Elim 29th, and then a 1 Elim 25th, then a 13 Elim 2nd. When they get rolling, they're looking really, really solid. You'll probably notice there's a big team I haven't talked about. I hyped them up saying they're finally uncontested. Huddy didn't make it. How is Mr. Savage, Mongol, and Panzer gonna do when uncontested? Unfortunately, not that hot. They came in 21st place with 108 points. So Aussie, what went wrong? What happened? Who's selling? Who's throwing? They should leave the bird. It was a rough day. First couple games, they made it off bird. They had surge. They were looking solid. Game 1, Savage got beamed in a bush by 2 different teams. Went down. Mongol and Panzer still got a 5 Elim 9th. Awesome. Solid start. Not so bad. Game number 2, Savage tried to rotate them frontside. He got triple beamed by the ARs as they landed out of the Void Mask. They went down. Unfortunately, from then on, it did kind of go downhill. A lot of it was the aggression around the spawn fight. Even when Mongol and Savage are uncontested, Chicho and Teeny still like to push over. They play super aggressive. They push him around on spawn. They get a lot of surge tags, and it does mess up Mr. Savage. Or if they rotate towards the south, when they try to, you know, claim some of the shrines and claim some of their loot, they have to deal with Marco's team rotating out of Shogun, also catching them off guard. I'm not trying to make excuses for Mongol, Savage, and Panzer. I think they could have played a lot better. I don't think it's the bird as a drop spot. Unfortunately, we haven't seen a single team do good out of the bird on E or NA in any weeks. NA was triple con this week. EU again last week conned, NA conned. It seems to be attracting a lot of aggression, a lot of fights. I don't know if it's necessarily the drop spot or it's just that a lot of the teams that are dropping around it like playing aggressive. On NA, you have Kanada's team. EU, you have Teeny's team. It makes it a bit harder to judge how good the drop spot is. It could be the problem, very well. I don't know, but there is a problem right now with Mongol, Savage, Panzer, and they have to fix it. They started off the season really hot in the eval cups, and now it's been a couple weeks of the finals, and it's not looking as good. We'll still see. They still earn. It's not a last place. There is still a lot of room for improvement. Obviously, they had a 13th, 15th, and 15th, and a 9th, as well as a 29th. So 5 of their games, they made it inside the top 15. They're making it towards that end game. They're just not breaking into the rotating zones they really need to start to show some of the strength they showed at the start of the season. I don't think it's full panic mode. Mongol, Savage are terrible. They should split up. They should find new teams. I don't think it's panic mode just yet, but we got a few things to fix up, that's for sure.